is up, everybody? Welcome back to MLB Swing for the Fences here on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel, talking Friday night's 7-game slate, I believe. Early baseball today, still going on. So hopefully some of you have some good sweats out there. Joined today on Friday by Statsational. Stats, how you doing on this Friday afternoon?
Doing well, pal. How's it going?
It's going good. Watching this offensive explosion at Fenway. Have more Cardinals than Red Sox, which isn't the ideal approach to this game, but a decent early slate, kind of on the bubble for some cash lines. What about you? How'd the early slate go?
Yeah, kind of similar, actually. That the Boom report there did like the St. Louis side more than the Boston side, so wound up on a little bit more St. Louis, but yeah, and then we had our first Coors game today.
Yeah, very cold here still
in the snow. Oh, that's right, you were over there.
Yeah, so at the dog park, getting pelted by snow earlier this morning. So no, I did not. I'm not as brave as Steve Boynton, who would normally be on this show. He is at Wrigley Field this afternoon, enjoying, I'm sure, a few adult beverages, keep him warm. But I wasn't headed out to Coors Field today. No need to suffer.
No, man, baseball in the snow is not fun. I don't know if you ever played baseball in the snow.
Yes.
I don't know where you go. Yeah, it's not fun. In New York City, a handful of times we had to do it, and it's better than rain, though. As long as it's like, I'd rather it's snow flurries than cold rain.
The Minnesota is where I grew up, so we play.
There you go.
every spring. It starts in April. I mean, same time as the MLB season, and it would be. I just remember like every game was like a candidate to get snowed out or rained out or colded out, and I'd always be, of course, on the side of, we can play. It's 20 degrees. It doesn't matter, but might have a different story this time of year.
Well, I mean, hitting. Yeah, there was nothing worse than hitting in cold weather. You better make solid contact, otherwise you're going to be hurting for a while.
Yeah,
but in Colorado, I mean, tomorrow it might be 80 degrees in Denver. Who the hell knows? I mean,
it actually is. It's going to warm up. We'll have a good.
There you go.
Coors week where it's going to be should be low 70s for most of the week after we get through today. So happy better weather coming here, but nobody cares about that. You guys care, of course, about the baseball analysis. We do have a 20-minute earlier start than we typically do, 6:45 Eastern time. We've got Arizona, Washington, and the Dodgers and Phillies. So we will try to get out of here in the hour. Just 7 games to talk about, so should be able to do it. We'll go game by game as we typically do on this show, talking hitting, pitching, throwing questions if you've got them. Hit the like button if you're here. And of course, if you want to join us at RPS, Run Pure Sports, you can use it. Promo code RPS15, 15% off your first weekly or monthly payment. All right, Stats, let's get into the baseball. We'll start out with what I think might be the best hitting game on the slate. Arizona and the Washington Nationals. Not a lot of great hitting weather tonight. Going back to the weather theme, it's going to be a little bit cooler in most places. But this is one game, arguably the best kind of hitting spot on the slate. 70 degrees in Washington, D.C. A little bit of wind blowing in, but not bad at all for baseball. The D-backs, who scored the most runs last season, look like they could maybe do a similar thing this year. Really, really strong lineup. Lost Christian Walker, but added Josh Naylor. I think kind of a wash there between the two. And then the Nationals are a team that I really do like against right-handed pitching, specifically right-handed pitching that struggles against lefties, which that's Brandon Pfaadt to a T. A pretty good young pitcher, but a pitcher who has been hit historically well by left-handed bats, a trend I expect to continue this year for Pfaadt, just given the arsenal of pitches that he throws. So I like both offenses here, Stats. Not on either pitcher. It does look like a decent amount of people will go to Brandon Pfaadt. I get it, 7,200 in a reasonable matchup, but I lean the bats here. No interest in Jake Irvin for me, and I'll be rooting for offense in this one. Where'd you end up, Stats, on D-backs and Nationals?
I'm almost with you here on this one. So I think I'm going to have a little bit more fat than you are. If you have no fat, but I had him listed as my number 3 pitcher. So I don't really love the Washington bats in this game. I really, really do like Arizona Arizona stacks here. So for those of you who are new, haven't looked at that boom sheet yet, it's getting a lot of attention within our Discord, and the subscribers seem to really like it. If you look at the boom report, Arizona, we've got four guys here. Carroll, Naylor, Marte, and Smith, all at the elite level. And you could throw in Suarez, who was my play of the day last week here on this show, and had a big day for us last week on the Friday night slate. So we've got a lot of really high options on that boom ranking sheet on the Arizona side. Working on some stuff here for pitching that's going to be similar to that boom sheet for hitters. And Fat's my number 3 pitcher here on the slate. So there is upside here for Fat. And that's really what that sheet is looking at. It's looking at the upside. 7,200. I like the price tag on Fat. And so I'm going to have a bit of him. Let's see his strikeouts here over 5.5. It's juiced actually to the under -156 for Fat. Irvin, absolutely no. I have no interest in at all. And Arizona, also the highest team total on the slate for tonight. So I think a lot of things point here towards Arizona stacks.
Yeah, makes sense to me. I mean, it'd be hard, I think, not to like Arizona here. It would just be the price and ownership that would keep you away. They are expensive, but there are some cheap pitchers I like on the slate. Obviously, Fott is one of them for you. I didn't end up there. I get it with Brendan Fott. I get why people are playing him, why you might be interested. Like I said, I do lean on the national side. Just like how this team profiles against right-handed pitchers, like I said, who especially those who struggle against lefties, which is Brandon Pfaadt. So I'm on the national side of this one, but I get it with Pfaadt. Glad to hear you have no interest in Irvin. No. And then, I mean, this D-backs team, they're gonna keep pounding. I think they have a big series here against the Nationals, who have one of the very worst bullpens in baseball too. I'm not sure if the numbers bear that out. Obviously very early in the season, but I do expect before long for the Nationals to be near or at the bottom of the bullpen charts in any given statistical category. So in on Arizona, and I guess first disagreement. You're on the Fott side. I'm on the national side of that matchup. We'll see how it plays out. Certainly understand the direction you're going, but I do lean the Nationals left-handed bats there. Specifically, of course, the very top of the lineup. The first 3, Abrams, Wood, and Ruiz, are where I'm going with the Nationals for the most part, if I am going to them. Let's get to the Dodgers and Phillies, kind of a marquee series here. Similar weather, no surprise in Philadelphia to Washington. So mid to upper 60s, a little bit of wind blowing in, but obviously 2 of the very best offenses here, the Phillies and the Dodgers. Both these teams can do damage in a number of ways, but a ton of power in both lineups. We do have 2 good pitchers here, stats. Jesus Luzardo made his debut for the Phillies. Obviously spent his career in Miami before that. 11 Ks against the aforementioned Nationals. So he looked really good. Looks like the Phillies maybe made some changes to Luzardo to try to unlock more of that talent. We've always loved the talent with Luzardo. The results have not always followed with him, but you have to love the beginning of the season start for Luzardo. 95 pitches up in that one of the higher pitch counts that we've seen any pitcher go so far. So Luzardo, fully stretched. Of course, he has the brutal matchup against the Dodgers. I don't think I can pull the trigger on Luzardo here, although I do think he's good enough to retain his upside even in a tough matchup. And then Yamamoto going up against the Phillies. More interest in him, but I still don't love it with Yamamoto. He did get up to 91 pitches in his last outing, which I think is going to be probably about where he lives, would be my guess for most of the season, around 90 pitches, 5 innings. I think that's going to be common for Yamamoto, but that was enough to get him 10 strikeouts against the Tigers. Tougher matchup here, not impossible, against the Phillies. What'd you end up doing with Phillies and Dodgers stats?
Yeah, I mean, I've got Yamamoto as my top pitcher on the slate. He is the prop market. He's 16.5 outs, and that's pretty evenly juiced on either side. So they're looking at, really what you were saying, 5-6 innings on Yamamoto, and then 5.5 is his strikeout prop and heavily juiced to the over. So, he's going to do a lot of damage in what they're expecting to be, not a ton of work. Luzardo, I mean, a 5.5 strikeouts, -129 to the over, and he's projected for one less out, 15.5, and actually projected for more than that, less than that when you consider it's heavily juiced to the under. So I really like. I mean, I'm going to be in probably heavier on Yamamoto than you, which means I'm not taking a whole ton of Philly stacks, but the Dodger stacks, man, they just jump out. Again, I always refer back to that boom to the boom sheet and the boom ratings. I mean, in this game, if you look at both sides, the top 5 bats on that sheet are all Dodgers. So you got Ohtani, Betts, Teoscar, Edman, and Will Smith. So you've got 5. It's an expensive stack, but you got a 5-man stack right there with guys who are rating out on the elite boom side. So yeah, I like Dodgers here. I do like Yamamoto a bit more than you do. I actually have him as the number 1 pitcher here. So I think the upside with the strikeouts, and that's what I look like. That's what I'm looking at when I put the sheet together. Is when you're looking at upside, you want to see that K per inning really number is what I'm looking at. So like you said, he's a guy who got 10 strikeouts in a limited amount of pitches, and that's the upside you're looking for. Can't expect 10 again, but if we can get 8 in 6 innings, that'd be pretty good for us.
Yeah, looks like where do you have Fad and Yamamoto coming out ownership wise? Captain's got them around 25 to 30% each. You think that's going to prove accurate for the most part?
I mean, Yamamoto is going to will be the highest owned, I believe, on the slate, and I think somewhere around 30. And what was the other one? Fat was trying to. I don't have him up now, but yeah, where I had him. But the
I've got him at 25, which sounds about right for Fat. I think
Fat. I call him. I'll forever call him Fat because of JBC and screwing up the names. Yeah, but Sabres got him up at 29. I think it might be a little high, but we'll see. So yeah, I mean, you're going to be fading him there, right?
Yeah, I'm not on Fat at all. I agree with Yamamoto more than Fat, but I think Yamamoto's got some risk, and obviously get leverage against Brendan Fat with that national stack, and I might take some Phillies too. These power bats. I mean, Schwarber, Bryce, they can do it against anybody, including Yamamoto.
Do you think there's any value in Luzardo as a leverage type of play? Because you will get a lot of Phillies, a lot of Dodger stacks here. Does he have the upside? So. In that ballpark, I don't like it.
I mean, I think the downside for Luzardo is massive, right? Like, I wouldn't be shocked at all. It's the Dodgers, and we still don't know exactly what Luzardo is, but I saw enough in that first start with the changed arsenal a little bit and the talent I think Luzardo does make some sense. Frankly, getting 3 or 4 or 5 points versus -8, like, it doesn't make that much of a difference when you're trying to win a tournament anyway, right? And I do think Luzardo does retain 20 plus fantasy point upside, especially if they're going to let him throw 95, 100 pitches with his stuff. So yeah, I don't think I'll get to Luzardo on my 3 teams, but I don't mind it, especially at what looks like sub 10% owned. I'm sure you're going to see quite a few Dodgers stacks, so you do get some leverage as well. So yeah, that does make sense. And then the Phillies bats, part of the problem against going up against the Dodgers, obviously the starters are good, but they have so many good arms in the bullpen as well. I mean, pretty much their entire bullpen is guys that you don't want your hitters really facing. So does make the Dodgers just a tough team in general to take hitters against. Still don't think the power bats for the Phillies are bad plays if you're looking to get some low-owned upside into your lineup. Any hitters in particular with the Dodgers you're looking at? You mentioned the boom rating. For me, is it Edman and Teoscar hitting 3-4? I think, yeah.
I don't have the lineup in front of me, but you've got a couple of, you've got some cheap bats too. Pages and Rojas are pretty cheap, so you really can mix. You can fit in some of the more expensive guys here. I just got rid of the Dodgers here, thinking we were done. Let me see what the lineup is. Yeah, but
if you're looking to save a little bit of cash,
Edman's batting 3rd.
Yeah,
with Teoscar batting 4th. Yep.
That Edman, Teoscar, Will Smith, Kike.
It's gonna be popular.
Yeah. 3-6 will be popular, but I think pretty good way to go. Leave off Ohtani and Betts. Never feels good, but those other guys can obviously do plenty of damage as well. And hard to afford them all, of course. All right, we'll move on to the Braves and the Marlins. The Braves still winless? I think they might be. I believe so.
I think they are, and yeah, I mean, as long as that keeps on going, it's fine by me.
Yeah, they'll get their first home game. They opened up, of course, in San Diego, swept, and then I believe swept by the Dodgers as well. I believe the Braves are 0-6 or 0-7. They do have their best pitcher going tonight, or once Strider comes back, he'll be number one. But Spencer Schwellenbach will take the mound for the Atlanta Braves. He'll go opposite Max Meyer for the Miami Marlins. I was on Meyer in that first start. He was really good against Pittsburgh, 7 strikeouts, over 5 2/3, just 1 earned run. Stuff was greatly improved for Max Meyer, one of my breakout pitchers for this season. Good start for him, and liked what I saw from Mr. Meyer. So I'm back in on Meyer today. The Braves, of course, have a dangerous lineup, but man, they have done almost nothing so far. Good turnaround, right? Home opener. It's Friday night. It's warm in Atlanta. Wouldn't be shocked to see the Braves have their first big offensive game of the year here, but nevertheless, I'll take a shot on Meyer at 7,400. Do love the talent there and like what I saw, like I said, in that first start. So mostly pitching here for me. I mean, Schwellenbach, he looked even better in that first start than he did, at least stuff-wise, for most of last year when he was phenomenal. So I don't see really any reason, stats, other than just the variance of baseball, to think that Schwellenbach will be anything other than excellent here. A lot of strikeouts to be had against Miami. It was really, I mean, maybe you have something, but I can't really think of anything not to like about Schwellenbach other than the price, and then I assume high ownership as well. But for me, well warranted with Schwellenbach. I think he's an excellent way to start your lineup, and I have no problem pairing him with the pitcher opposite him in this one, Max Meyer, either. I'm not playing any Marlins. I don't think I'm going to play any Braves, but certainly more interested in the Braves than I am in the Marlins. What about you, Stats? Braves and Marlins here.
Yeah, I would say, this is kind of the difference between the two of us, and where you have an advantage sometimes, where the numbers really aren't panning. Don't really tell me to play Myers here. But
yeah,
the one advantage you have over the numbers is if you're watching the games and you do have an idea, and you're really good at this, of just kind of looking at the talent and seeing something. If you're good at that, and not everyone is, you're going to be ahead of the numbers, right? Because the projections are based on what players have done, what the team that they're facing has done. So you have the ability of maybe sometimes outperforming a number where you like a Meyer in this matchup, where my numbers are just saying he's you want to avoid him in this game. So I mean, his strikeout total is 4.5. Perhaps you like the over on his strikeouts. When you look at Schellenbach, his total 6.5. It is juiced to the under, but I think it's the highest the highest strikeout total on the slate, and he's got 18.5 outs. Heavily juiced though to the under, so it's more like a 17.5 type of prop there on Schwellenbach. And I think I said I had Yamamoto number one. I actually have Schellenbach as my number one option, with Yamamoto 2, and Fat was my third choice. So I believe I misspoke. I apologize about that. But I do like Atlanta stacks here. Yeah, I mean, obviously Atlanta's gotten off to a pretty slow start, but I mean, Miami, I'm not even going to sniff, not touching any of that. We've got, you got De La Cruz that helps you out there with some of the prices at 2,100. So I think a nice fit as far as if you're looking for a cheap option in this stack. But then you've got Ozuna, Riley, Olsen, Harris. I like all those guys for stacks. So I will have, I think you're probably going to shy away from it just because your opinion maybe on Meyer, but my numbers are showing me I got to play Atlanta stacks here, and certainly heavy with Schellenbach.
Yeah, it makes sense with Atlanta, and I'll probably miss out on the big Atlanta Braves performance. Normally, I'll be on board with the Braves here, even off the rough outings. But man, bad vibes around the Atlanta Braves. I guess that's what happens when you haven't won a game yet. Obviously, going to turn around, and it would make sense for tonight to be the night. So I get it with the Braves. Again, I do think Max Meyer is better than he's given credit for. But even if he is, obviously the Braves could go off, and they're just not going to be quiet all year long, obviously. Stats.
Dude, that Miami lineup that they put out there though is just, I mean, it's brutal.
It's every day. They don't have anyone else to play.
It's bad.
Yeah, some of their pitches are okay, assuming I'm right about Meyer, but that offense is just brutal. And yeah, I think Schwellenbach. I was surprised when you said you had Yamamoto as the top raw scorer, but yeah, you Schwellenbach you have ahead of Yamamoto.
Schwellenbach's my number one. Yeah, I apologize about that, but and then and the Yamamoto was 2.
Yeah, I personally think Schwellenbach is by far should be the highest projected both floor and ceiling pitcher in this matchup against Miami. So no problem eating the chalk there, 9,800, especially getting a little bit different. Looks like at SP2 for the most part. So Schwellenbach, fantastic option. Probably the play over at FanDuel too, even at 10-6 in my opinion, where you can only roster one. He'll be the guy most likely to make my lineups. And then I do like Meyer, and Stats is on the Braves bats, which I totally understand. And might have to make one more team to get a Braves stack in there. I can't be missing out on Braves Friday Night Fireworks. I think I know what I'm doing for my first 3 teams, but might need a fourth to get the Braves just in case.
They're due, man. Famous last words. They are due.
They are very, very due.
How many times did they kill us last year?
Yeah.
The Braves.
More than a few. More than a few. So we'll see if the Braves can get it done. I'll be rooting for Meyer, but won't be surprised to see the Braves break out this evening. Let's get to Kansas City and Baltimore. Looks like a little bit of potential weather here. I think they're going to be good to play. I'll look it up while you're talking stats, but I think they'll be okay to play in Kansas City. It will be cold and not conducive to hitting weather with winds blowing in Kauffman Stadium, assuming they do indeed play. Seth Lugo going for the Royals. He's kind of, in my opinion, pitched above his head a little bit with the Royals, but another pretty good spot to do it here. Really friendly pitching umpire behind the plate, big park, and winds blowing in Kansas City. Going to be tough for anybody to hit home runs in this one, given the conditions, which obviously takes, at least in my eyes, some of the appeal off of both of these teams offensively. I don't love the pitchers either, though. Stats, curious where you ended up on Lugo and Kramer, both of them throwing from the right side. The Orioles, I should have mentioned, do get Gunnar Henderson back. He'll make his season debut, was on the injured list, I believe, with an oblique injury, but leading off tonight should be good to go going forward. Obviously, 2 pretty good offenses here in general, just mostly the stadium and the weather kind of has me off of these teams. What are you doing stats, Royals and Orioles?
Yeah, it's an odd game, right? We got a low total and we don't really love the pitchers.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely an odd matchup. I mean, I like Lugo here much better than Kramer. Very rare do I really like Kramer in any of his outings. I've got him as one of my, he's in the bottom 4 on pitchers here with Lugo's actually my 6th choice. So I'm definitely going to have some Lugo in the mix. You look in the betting markets, we've got on Kramer, 4.5 is his strikeout total, juiced to the under. So nothing that we can get too excited about. Lugo's 4.5 as well, but juiced to the over. Again, we're not going to go nuts here, but I do think he's deserved in 150 max for sure. He definitely needs to be in the mix with those totals, and like you said, with the weather, not really conducive to the hitters in this one. So there is some upside there for Lugo. When I look at the bats and I look at the boom report, yeah, it's not a lot. I mean, Bobby Witt, he's always going to be one of the top options here, but it's kind of mixed. Most of it is leaning towards Baltimore more so than Kansas City, but no one is really popping out. Most of these guys are moderate down to low. So it's really not a stack. I mean, Gunnar Henderson's first game back rates out to an elite level, but outside of that, not a lot on either side here. You got O'Neill and Henderson. If you're looking for like a 2-man stack, those are the 2 guys who rate out the best, but I would kind of stay clear of this one from stacking. I don't really like many one-off options either. And for me, this game's it's just going to be kind of Seth Lugo for a bit in my builds, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just hard to justify the one-offs when it's going to be so hard to get home runs. Mm-hmm. And I just don't love the stacks here either. especially because they're not cheap, right? You're paying for the good hitters here in a not great hitting spot. So I'm with you, pretty much off of Orioles and Royals. Lugo is, I think I would agree with you, the best overall play in this game, but still not all that excited about him, even at 7,600. He should be safe, right? He is definitely much safer than Max Meyer. I think the upside might lean Meyer's side. Does Lugo grade out well? Yeah, Captain's got him not grading out so well in terms of some of the prop markets and projection wise. But it sounds like you like Lugo a little bit better maybe than our Captain does.
Yeah, I mean, I have him as the sixth choice, so I'm not going crazy here, but I think he definitely deserves some ownership. I don't know where they have him. Where do we have him here? Let's see. On
maybe 10 to 15% on Lugo, something like that.
Yeah, they got him at 14%, which I think that's about right. That's probably about where I'd have him myself in 150 builds. So yeah, I think that's right around the right number.
All right, fair enough. That's Baltimore and Kansas City. Tampa Bay and Texas up next. This one will be played indoors in Texas. And you've got two righties, two kind of, again, a little bit of run-of-the-mill right-handed pitchers, Zach Littell and Tyler Mahle, both of these guys making their second starts. I was on Littell and for that start against Colorado. He was excellent, 23 DraftKings points, 7 strikeouts, no walks, just 1 earned run. But you got to take it with a grain of salt, right? You get the Rockies out of Coors Field, and it's more like if you don't show up and put up a decent score, that's the problem, more so than getting credit if you do. And then Tyler Mahle got not roughed up is the wrong term, just 1 earned run, but only made it 1 2/3 innings, 4 walks and 2 hits. Looks like a bullpen bailed him out of that one. Did not pitch well. I did watch that game, and Mahle was unimpressive for sure. So I do think he's probably a pitcher to pick on right now. I don't love the Rays here going on the road to kind of a pitcher-friendly park, but you could do worse, I think, than the Rays. Certainly not playing Mahle. And I don't think I'm playing Littell either at 8,500, but way more interested in him than I am Mahle. And probably enough respect for Littell not to go too crazy with the Texas Rangers, but there just aren't that many great hitting spots. So we got to accept, ones that maybe we wouldn't typically have to especially on a Friday night when, we normally have a lot of games to choose from. I'll throw it to you, Stats. Where'd you end up? Rays and Rangers.
It's interesting. I'm looking at Sabre now, and it's like it looks like the Rays ownership, excuse me, on the bats, slightly higher than what Texas, the Texas ownership here. So, I mean, as far as the pitching goes, I don't like either one of these pitchers. I got them ranked when you look at Littell and Mahle, they're 9th and 10th respectively for me on this slate. So I'm really looking at the bats for the matchup, and I've got the Texas bats as the better side here. So I like the Texas bats.
Yeah.
If you look at the Boom Report, Seager, Garcia, Peterson, those guys, and Berger all rate out to be on the elite level. And Tampa kind of they've got low at the elite, and then most of the Tampa lineup is in that high at that high level as well. So I'm gonna be playing both of these stacks. I'm getting off the pitchers. Just give you a quick rundown on what the betting markets look like on both of the pitchers. You've got Mahle 4.5, and he's heavily juiced to the under on the strikeouts. 162 to the juice on the under. And is it Little or Lytle? Littell.
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 0 for 2. Yeah.
0 for 2. Well, that was my next guess. I am awful with names, so I turned into my dad somewhere around 5 years ago. But over 4.5 is his number, minus 115. It's just the same on both sides. So just no interest in the pitching. I like the Texas side of this game. I like the bats here for Texas. There's some on the Tampa side, you can get like a Misner at 2,800. You've got on Texas. Here we go, the Japanese names, but Higashioka.
There you go.
At 25. Yeah, the Japanese ones aren't as bad. They kind of pronounce the way they look, but So at 2,500, so we got a couple of guys there that I don't mind that are at a pretty high level on the boom sheet for a decent savings. You get even Jansen on the Tampa Bay side at catcher, a little expensive for catcher 3,100, but we've got a couple of guys here that we could pay down, fit in the Seagers and the Garcias. So I like the Texas side a little bit more than Tampa. I'm going to have both of these stacks going though.
Yeah, thankfully, sweet Travis Mangone hasn't infiltrated my baseball shows as of yet. But when he does, he really struggles with those Japanese names. So he'll be here soon enough to screw up Mr. Higashioka whenever that horrible day comes when Mangone pops up in the pre-show chat, and I gotta listen to Mangone screw up names. Anyway, don't need to get down about that yet. We got a couple more weeks of basketball for Travis to stay focused. Let's keep it moving from Tampa and Texas. Just a couple more games to talk about, which is good, Stats, because we got the early start today. We got to get to our lineups.
Yeah, we got to get out early.
Yeah, got to get cores early, favorite pitchers, and we'll do some home runs too to call it. But we'll keep it moving for now. 2 more games to talk about. Cincinnati and Milwaukee are up next. This one in Milwaukee, I assume it'll be played indoors. We've got Nick Martinez, another pitcher that I do like for a solid season this year. He started out really well against San Francisco, kind of faded in the later innings, but did go 6 solid, 4 earned runs, 5 Ks. More of a control pitcher, which obviously isn't great for DFS purposes, but I do think he's going to give the Reds 6 innings more often than not. Curious where his K prop. I'm sure we can get a decent number on the over there. But yeah, Nick Martinez, I think they're going to rely on him. 83 pitches in the last start, got through 6. He's going to be very efficient, I think, on a per inning basis in terms of the pitch count. Just a strike thrower, a guy who pounds the zone. I'll take my chances with those types of guys, especially at 7,100 against a Brewers team that hasn't really gotten going either. I do think this offense will be good when it's all said and done, but right now not performing super well. I'm guessing Nick Martinez might not grade out as well for you as he does for me, but I like him quite a bit. Opposite him will be soft-tossing lefty Tyler Alexander, who I don't think will pitch too long in this game, has made 2 appearances, 1 inning and 2 1/3 innings so far, both against the Yankees. Well, we'll get maybe 3 or 4 innings out of Tyler Alexander. I think the Reds could potentially do some damage. I mean, the Reds are – I think did they get shut out 3 times already? I believe so. I think 3. We're all 3-1-0. It's just been a crazy start to the season for the Reds, who have also had a couple big games as well. And if the trend continues, I would kind of expect maybe this game to be one where they get going against Alexander, who I don't think is any good. But I'll throw it over to you, Stats. What are you doing with Brewers and Reds here?
So, yeah, I actually do like Martinez. I've got Martinez as my 4th pitcher on the slate. Yeah. There's 2 things. I'm always giving you guys the strikeout props, but, innings means a lot too. I think it's the 2 most important stats actually for DFS. Like if you get a pitcher to go deep, obviously not giving up runs, but just getting those outs really starts to accumulate points here. His strikeout total, not, it's over 4.5, minus 137. It's nothing crazy, but he is projected 17.5, or prop is 17.5 outs with the juice to the over as well. So that's really what you're looking for at 7,100. I think you said it well. You're like, look, we're not getting the guy with the 7.5K prop at 7,100. So at this price, if you get a guy who hits the zone, gets the ball in play, low pitch count, and could get you through 7 innings and 7 innings, 6 strikeouts, fantastic if we can get that. And I think you've got that ability there with Martinez. So for me in GPPs, he's my 4th pitcher on this slate, 7,100. Alexander, I'm not even thinking about here. His K prop's only 3.5. It is over, juice to the over, but I've got him as one of the worst pitching options on the slate. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think Cincinnati stacks are in play. Ellie's always going to be expensive. I don't know. Has that lineup come out yet? It hadn't before the show, so I don't know if that lineup's out. But,
I don't think it's out yet. No, I don't see it.
Yeah, because we should have some pretty, like if you want to use them as a secondary stack, or even a primary stack, and then play one of these more expensive secondary stacks with it, you could really do that with Cincinnati, assuming that these guys who we're anticipating to play, Espinal, Encarnacion, Trevino behind the plate. Like those guys are come with a pretty low price. They're all under 3K. And when you mix it in with Ellie at 6,200, you can get yourself, if you're using a 5-man stack or you want a 2 or 3-man secondary stack with some of the cheaper options, you could do that with Cincinnati. So I like the Cincinnati bats. I do like Martinez, as I think you do as well at that price tag. I think it opens up a lot of things for us for at 7,100. You could probably play a couple of cheap pitchers on this slate and get yourself some more expensive bats. You don't like fat, but for me, you could play some fat Martinez or fat Martinez lineups, and get some pretty good bats in there. So I like the Cincinnati. I'm kind of steering clear of Milwaukee all the way around here, and I like the Cincinnati side of this game.
Yeah, I could see Cincinnati breaking down the big way in this one. And Ellie De La Cruz does have some pretty severe splits, much better from the left side of the plate. But he could easily just bat from the right side just one time against Tyler Alexander, who, he should be able to hit him against even from the worst side. And then I think he'll be surrounded, again, no lineup, but I think he'll be surrounded by right-handed bats. So he likely gets to bat from the left side for the rest of this game once Alexander's out, which again could easily just be the one plate appearance. So in on the Reds here. I don't think the Brewers are the craziest stack, even though I like Martinez, but I do lean the Martinez side. Glad to hear you're on board. And like I said, I have no problem double spending down a pitcher. Meyer, Martinez, sounds like you would go Fott Martinez if you were going that direction.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
Yeah. But it does allow you to get some bigger bats on a day where there's not that many great hitters in good spots. So that savings does go quite a long way on this particular slate. I think, the Reds, obviously they got Ellie, but McClain, Encarnacion Strand's got a ton of power. Candelario off to a decent start. Steer. They've got some guys you can play in that Reds lineup with some power for sure, assuming those guys are all in there. Let's get to the last game on the slate. It is the only West Coast game. It is the Guardians and the Angels. Gavin Williams going for Cleveland was pretty mediocre in his season debut. Just 2 strikeouts over 5 innings against the Royals. He'll get a better matchup here against the Angels. Should be 65 degrees, a little bit of winds blowing out in Anaheim in Angels Stadium. So nothing super notable about the weather. And then Jose Soriano going for the Angels. 7 strong innings in his first start. It did come against the White Sox, but nevertheless, Soriano looked good. We expected him to. Made us some money last year. 5 strikeouts, 11 ground balls. He needed just 73 pitches to get through 7. I think he can go 90-plus pitches. He just, they were winning 1-0 in 7 innings, so you kind of go to the bullpen. Probably going to finish that game, frankly, against the White Sox. But I bet they stretch him out a little bit here against the Guardians, who, for those who have been playing MLB DFS the last couple of years, the Guardians have always been a very, very contact-oriented team. Not many strikeouts. That's changed a little bit with the current iteration of the lineup. The top 2, Kwan and Ramirez, both, among the very best in all baseball making contact. But you get beyond those guys, and there are strikeouts to be had here against this lineup. So Soriano coming in at 8,100. It does feel like kind of a high price tag for him, but I do think he pitches well again. I like this kid's arm. He's got good stuff. And obviously he's proven he can go pretty deep into games as well. So I like Soriano here. Ownership-wise, looks like he'll be – what do you have Soriano at? Yeah, 15-ish%. So, okay, that's fine for me with Soriano.
20-ish for Williams?
Yeah, and I think Williams is a fine play too. Again, I'm not going to end up there. If I was playing 150, he would absolutely be in the pool at 7,900. Where'd you end up with Soriano and Williams? And then obviously talk about the offenses in this game as well, Stats.
I've got Williams as my 5th option and Soriano as my 7th. So, fairly close. I'm going to use both pitchers here in my 150 builds for sure. And I'm going to play some of the stacks as well against them. Let's go over the props quick. The 5.5 strikeouts for Williams is his prop. It's juiced to the under. And they're looking at just 15.5 outs with heavily juiced to the under on Williams. So keep that in mind with him. Soriano, 17.5 outs is the prop at a slightly juiced -132 to the under, but only 4.5 strikeouts. So, like you said, just not getting a ton of strikeouts. But again, kind of similar situation there. If we can get us, if Soriano gets you deep into the game, gets you 5-6 strikeouts, doesn't give up many runs, that's going to play. But his price tag is a little bit more than some of the other pitchers there. So at 8,100, you're looking at on Soriano. That's really what gets him down. That strikeout number at 8,100, not as enticing and not as enticing to me as like a Nick Martinez at 7,100. So that's why I like Martinez a bit more on this slate with similar kind of K props with those guys. I think the Cleveland side, if I was going to take either side here on the stacks, and I do like some stacks here, I think it's the Cleveland side that you really want to be stacking. We've got a couple of you've got obviously Ramirez and Santana. They're kind of right at the top there. And then if you want some savings, again, I don't think we have the lineup out there yet, but with a Naylor, with an Arias, you get a couple of cheap bats that you can mix in with some of the more expensive guys like Ramirez and Santana. So I do like Cleveland stacks here a bit. They'll be in the mix for sure. Probably have some LA stacks as well, just not as many. Mm-hmm. And yeah, from the pitching standpoint, like I said, it's going to be a little bit more Williams for me than Soriano.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. I'm a little bit on the Soriano side, but no issue with that. Let's do the pitching thing again. Well, I'll give you this question. I'll answer it too, of course. If you had to just one pitching pairing for the slate for DraftKings, let's take into account, of course, your projections, the context of the slate with offenses and ownership as well. If you had to boil it down to your favorite pitching pairing on DraftKings of the slate, who would it be, Stats?
I mean, I hate to go the two chalky guys, but I mean, Schellenbach and Yamamoto, I think you can, there's enough savings here offensively that you can take the two top guys in Schellenbach and Yamamoto and still make some pretty good lineups. If you're struggling there and you want to save, I would kind of dump Yamamoto for either Fat or Nick Martinez. And so if you need that extra 1,800, 1,900, whatever it is in savings, I would come down there. But I don't think I could get off the Schellenbach. I think he's kind of cash game GPP. I think he's the nuts here tonight. And then you could go a lot of different ways, I think, outside of that. But he would be my anchor.
Yeah, Schwellenbach going to be on for sure at least 2 of 3, potentially 3 of 3. But make 4 lineups, probably 3 of 4 for Schwellenbach. Just too good of a spot, and I think he's well clear of the field and what to expect from him compared to everybody else. So Schwellenbach, the answer for me. I'll go with Nick Martinez and Schwellenbach would be the two, and then my contrarian option would be Mr. Meyer. But Schwellenbach Martinez, I do think, is the best pairing from where I sit on this slate. Certainly one that I'll have on at least one of my own lineups. Stats. We got a little extra time. Give us your top 3 stacks on the night.
I mean, I like the Dodger stack. I like Texas and I like Atlanta. Those would be my 3.
All right, I'm going D-backs, Nationals, number 2. I think that's probably our biggest difference on the slate overall.
Yeah, for sure.
And then give me the Reds. Give me the Reds to do some damage against Tyler Alexander and that.
I like that
Brewers bullpen. Finally, we'll end it up with a home run call. We'll get out of here hour before the slate. Answer all the questions, all that stuff. Hit the like button, guys, if you haven't yet done so. And if you need core plays, if you need the boom rating, if you need my article, anything you need baseball-wise, we've got you covered over at Run Pure Sports. And, of course, Masters coming up next week. Can't wait for that. We've got the Final Four. We've got a nice UFC card tomorrow. Everything you need. runpuresports.com, promo code RPS15 will get you 15% off. All right, Stats, give us your home run call of the evening.
Yeah, give me Marcell Ozuna.
Marcell Ozuna. I hope that doesn't come true, but I totally understand that call. Give me CJ Abrams against Brandon Pfaadt. You'll be probably rooting against that one yourself. So
Yes.
turnabout is fair play, but Abrams off to a nice start. Love the lefties against Brandon Pfaadt, as I've mentioned a few times. All right, that'll do it for this show. Thanks for watching here on Friday night fireworks edition of the Swing for the Fences show. We'll be back on Sunday morning. Me and Third and Schlong will be here breaking down baseball. No show tomorrow. But we've got, of course, plenty of content over at RPS to get you covered otherwise. That'll do it for Statsational. I'm Draft Sheet. We're out of here.